Good morning, everybody. It's Marty, the JavaScript party. I'm a buddy Rat. I got a nut for her. Here you go, girl. And we are doing some coding. It's already 8:38, so this is gonna be a short video. And I am in a rabbit hole. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to sort of get better at deleting. Right now, I didn't really understand deleting. I don't think you need to understand deleting memory and objects and stuff like that in JavaScript very often because this is probably the vast majority of time. See how I declare deleted, and then I'm done with it. So this in this particular delete renderer function, once I get to this point, there'll be no references to deleted, and then deleted will be then uh, that whatever memory that is occupying will be cleared up. As part of this, I kind of went down a path where I realized that really when you create an object or when you create a variable, when you define a variable, you're really doing two things. And those two things are you're defining the name of the variable. So I'm assuming there's some sort of list of variable names, and then you're defining the value of the variable. And when you delete something in JavaScript, which is typically you set it to undefined or null, um, then what happens is um, you have broken the reference between, you're saying don't reference that object anymore. So and then theoretically, what would happen is the garbage collector would then go looking for any memory that does not have any references to it. And if it finds one, it will then uh, make the memory accessible again. I don't think it clears out the memory or does anything to the memory. It just makes it accessible again, usable again. Um, well, I think the problem is that we run into a lot in JavaScript is we have multiple references to a piece of memory, and then maybe one of those references never gets deleted. And so if the reference never gets deleted, then the memory never gets cleared up, and that is what is known as a memory leak. And usually, if you work on a website and it just slowly gets slower and slower and slower as you use it, and the fix is to refresh it, it's because the thing is of um, of full of memory leaks. So if you look at line 168 here, I do like a delete strenderer dict strenderer ID, which in my mind, when I did that, I thought I was deleting the actual renderer. But really what I was doing is I was actually deleting the reference to the renderer. If but if anything else is referencing the renderer, then it would the renderer would stay around. And so like in this specific situation, there's a couple of things referencing the renderer because the animation scheme is referencing the renderer too. So so I'm not deleting the renderer. That means I'm not freeing up the space, um, which means that I'm probably creating memory leaks because there's a very good chance that there's other things around. So like trying to do a delete, while it's very very rarely matters, when it does is extremely difficult to even understand. So like I said, when you say delete, you're typically saying actually delete my reference to this thing, not actually delete. And then you're saying as a side effect, I would like the the garbage collector to then reallocate this memory, make this piece of memory available to be reused. So I kind of came up with a scheme where I would get the renderer, um, and then I would go in and I would mark everything in the renderer. Like I would go through and cascade down because the problem is a renderer. If we go to a renderer, um, let's see. See, this is where it'd been nice to actually strongly type it, right? Like a lot of people, I don't know. I had one job where they just forced us to strongly type everything, and I think it was just a way to kind of slow us down. right? So you'd get work done, and then they were trying to sort of digest the work and get it out into production. So as developers, sometimes basically with the way we would get things done is like kind of in groups. We'd all get stuff done at the same time. So they kind of said, oh, they would just look through in the PRs and be like, can you fix this? Can you fix that? And a lot of it was just literally busy work just to keep us occupied while they were trying to move things through the process. But so this is an ST renderer, right? So what I would like to do is to methodically go through and call a delete on everything within the ST renderer. And then, so if we go to this definition, so we see that we have like, and not everything, like, so deleting the width, like these will go away, right? Like if I set ST width to undefined, then the width will go away. And I don't really need to know that width anymore. Um, uh, I don't, I sus I don't know about the renderer ID because the thing is I want to recycle renderer IDs. Um, and just as a quick recap, the reason this ever happened at all is because see when I hit update here, it goes to update one, and then if I go to the next back in here and I delete this, and then I update it, add a new one, and I hit update again. Now it's update 12, and I'd rather that be update 1. And so that's kind of the very, very beginning of all of this. And really what I was working on at the time was this update, try to get this update working so that I would be able to modify, make tweaks to this thing. And that's when I exposed the fact that I actually had this thing not working. And then I realized, oh man, and then I started to learn all about like memory leaks and really dig into that. But anyways, it seems like all of these things need to be resettable so that I can so I can uh, clear up that piece of memory. But in order to be able to reset this strongly typed item, it forces all these things to exist. Which is like I think there's like this concept of yin and yang where like you know if you do too much of one thing you end up neglecting another thing. Well, this is like an example. This forces the ST renderer to have everything that it needs to have. The problem is it forces I can't delete individual things within it because everything has to have a value. So um, I could like say, oh, ST width is -1 or something like that. But actually, the whole point is to be able to break the references. So I want to break the reference to the piece of memory that this width is pointing at. So in order to be able to do that, I would need to be able to define this as undefined, which if I do that is very likely then to break some compilations in some places where I check to see if a value exists. And that is going to be a lot of work. So if I hit save, I wouldn't be surprised if something breaks. I don't know. Um, but so yeah, so that is fine. So I'm just going to go through and just update them all and see if we get lucky. And then for like these other complex objects, they all have like manager classes. They all have classes that manage them. Um, and so what I want to do is go through and oh, actually, I guess I don't have to do it that way, right? Oh, yes, I do. I think I have to do it this way. I was gonna say I think I put the little question mark, but that just says it doesn't have to exist. Oh, I guess yeah, that would do it too. Yeah, so instead of that, I'm going to make everything a question mark, which is a lot of time, like most places I've ever worked, has been a sort of something you don't want because you're trying to force, you don't want them to be able to create the object without everything being there. But what I'm saying here is that these things don't have to exist. Now let's see if that breaks anything. It wouldn't surprise me if that breaks something. And even if it didn't break something, I would be a little bit nervous. Okay, so I'm saying, so what I found is some code here that says, hey, if this thing is undefined, you're trying to use this thing and it might be undefined. So this is a function that's called render by ID. So I would say that we definitely don't want to do this if the 3 or the camera don't exist. So actually, I think this does make the code easier because I do think we had some problems before where it was trying to render things that didn't exist anymore. So basically, I don't want to do this if those don't exist. So I believe I can just write some code around here. And I think this is a good thing. If you'd asked me a month ago, I would not think this is a good thing. And I do think it's important that you, like, that is like probably a good sign for you in your career. If you're like, I used to think this is a good thing and now I think it's a bad thing. I think that probably means that you're growing. Okay. So I guess what we want to do is actually over here. Okay. So we're going to get our render. So basically, st renders dictionary, and then, and I am kind of treading, I'm confident I'm going to screw this up. Okay, so if those don't exist, then don't do this, right? I think that's obvious. That's very clear. And then else, I think I'm just going to console log because I don't know what to do here. I don't know if, man, I just hate this. I think console.log uh, and so and what's really screwy about this is st render dictionary st render ID could even be the wrong renderer ID, right? So console uh, error found um, invalid render. And I think I want what I'd rather this is to be a void. I mean a boolean. And let rendered. And I'm just going to assume that it's going to work. Equals true. And then, and obviously this is going to screw up unit test, or this is going to end up creating return rendered. Say 52, and then we're going to set render to false. All right, so we definitely, I don't know what could cause this, and I actually, I hope I never see this, but if I do see it, I want to probably add code that makes this a little bit more reasonable. I think I think we're running into a weird situation because the problem is that okay, so I have a renderer and it's in there by renderer ID, and then I'm recycling renders renderer IDs, so it's possible that um, I have a renderer that's the wrong renderer in here. So I don't know, but the thing is that I think if I do the deletes, then this will, like when I get my ST renderer, if it doesn't have a scene, in all likelihood, that means I've got the wrong renderer and that there's some other kind of bug in here that because in here in this renderer service, I didn't delete their instance of it. But it kind of seems like I have multiple references to the same object, and that might be a problem too. So I don't know. So let's hit save and see if that solves all of our problems. Okay, so we found another one. Oh, we got a ton of them. This doesn't surprise me, if I'm being completely honest. Um, so inside the animation service is another one where, okay, so here and this is all throwaway code, right? So, but basically it's saying, hey, this might not exist. And so we need to add code on this too. And then it looks like we have a bunch of other stuff. And this, like I said, doesn't surprise me. This is exactly what I expected to happen. I expected all kinds of stuff to break all over the place because now I've made these optional, which is the exact freaking opposite of my entire goal when I started this project. My entire goal was to have everything very tightly, like where you can't have the object unless it has its pieces. You just can't even set it up if you. And now all of a sudden, like, I'm breaking that entire object, and who knows, that entire sort of idea is being broken, and who knows what dependencies I had on that idea before. So yeah, we're in a bizarre rabbit hole, and I don't even know if it's the right thing to do, and it's very, very bad for this project. I would definitely, if I was working on a production project, we went down this path, we're already down this path. This is like, we just need to figure out, either live with the memory leaks or figure out some other way to mitigate them that doesn't just break all the entire assumptions of the application. So, but this is first and foremost, um, learning, I think, is the most important part of this whole thing. So experiencing these problems, is important. Anyways, it is 8:56. I have to start work in 4 minutes. So everybody, I'm not going to be doing a show tomorrow because I'm going into the office to meet or to. I think we're kind of there's some people I work with that were born and raised in India, and Diwali is a very special thing to them, and so we're going in and trying to sort of show support for our teammates from India that and they're going to make some food for us, which is so incredibly nice of them, and we're all going to spend some time together and get some work done. So I won't be doing this tomorrow. I'm going to miss y'all, but have a great day. Bye. Happy coding.